Hello everyone, this is Bbeltdan and welcome to episode 13 of where I am constructing a Skeksis puppet. Come to think about it, this is episode 13 and I'm filming this on Friday the 13th. It's just a coincidence. I'm not going to think too much about it. Let's go ahead and get into this episode. It's been about 2 weeks since the last episode. I apologize. I know I said I was going to be trying to get these things done every single week, but I got a little bit sidetracked, and you'll understand a little bit more probably in another episode. But the short story of it is that I saw that there was an opportunity, so to say, for me to try to take advantage of, and so I diverted a lot of my attention to that. So I had to put some of this on hold. It didn't quite pan out. So we'll talk more about that in a later episode, another video series or what have you. But I am back and we got quite a bit to show you. So let's go ahead and jump to it. I have the head almost completely done. I'm going to say that it is about 99% done. I'm going to show you here in just a minute. And I say 99% because there's still always going to be 1% that I could always extra that I can do with it. We'll take a look at that. So let me go ahead and get the puppet and show them to y'all. Okay, this is the Skeksis puppet as of today for this particular episode. As you can see, I have some extra details added in. Let's go through that. The first little detail that you might probably notice is I've given it some little hair details right here, and there's some up here for the eyebrows. The reason about why I gave that to them is because, one, they do have hair. It's not very prominent. You can absolutely see it on the Chamberlain puppet from the Dark Crystal, but it also kind of gives it what I believe the term is secondary movement, to where as you move the puppet, it continues to move just by manipulating the puppet as well. The other thing I've also done that you could probably barely notice is I've went in and did some extra weathering right here, just kind of just darkening up, taking all of these little spots here, giving a little bit of a hit of paint just to kind of make it to where it doesn't look that clean. I did a little bit of work on the inside, but I still need to do a little bit more. I'm going to have to add a tongue on him. That's another part of that 1% I need to do. And we also have the neck here. The neck is just strictly just, a piece of cloth to represent the shirt, so to say, that the Skeksis wears. I still want to do some weathering on this, but we'll get to all that type of stuff in a minute. Let me show you what I've done. And off here in the back, I've went ahead and I've reinforced the Velcro strips that keeps this closed back here. But there's also a Velcro strip back here on this portion here, so I can simply undo this to get in to work inside or to slip in the neck mechanism, which I do kind of have, so I'll show you that here in a minute. So what all still needs to be done on this puppet? I still want to go through and do a little bit more weathering and detailing on the flesh here. As you can see, compared to up here, this is still way too clean, way too nice and neat. I want to try to get through and make a lot of those changes. I want to do the interiors of the mouth, such as make the a tongue, go through with some kind of a clear coat paint along the teeth to make this all wet. The same thing with the eyes. The eyes are looking just a little bit too matted. I want to get kind of a glow on that to make, or not a glow, but a shine on that to make it look like that it's wet. I mentioned I want to try to weather this, but also I want to go ahead and put in a kind of a foam, light foam, inside this. So because right here, the cables are starting to stick out. If I use the thicker material, it might probably work, but this is material that I decided to use, and it's, if I put in, some foam in here, it'll make the neck look a little bit more, have a little bit more meat to it. So that's all things that I'm still needing to do with it. But other than that said, it's 99%. The character is pretty much finished. And what I mean by finished is that from this, I already have the mannerisms of the Skeksis. His, the way he moves, the way he talks, the way he speaks, all of that has already kind of, came out. And, once again, this puppet has told me, what, who it is and what this character is and everything. But we'll get more to that in another video, which we'll discuss a little bit more like that. But actually, I kind of like it. So I think it looks very good. And considering once again that it wasn't all that expensive to make. I got to go through and do the final numbers, but I don't even think I spent maybe $100 on this. This is all using material, fabric and stuff, so I didn't have to go out to buy latex or foam rubber or silicone or anything like that. I was able to do this all with fabric, so I think it turns out really well. And once you start going through and start manipulating a lot of the little joints here, let's see, that's his eyebrow. There's his eyes looking from side to side. Once you start to manipulate that, it really starts to, you really start to see this character kind of come out a little bit. See, what is this? I'm trying to remember what this is. What is that? I don't know what that is. I need to label these a little bit better. Okay, there's the eye blink mechanism. I don't have it connected to anything right now, so it's kind of, but I need to get these all labeled so I know which one's which. But that's the puppet. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on, and I'll show you what I've done with the neck mechanism. Alright everyone, and here is, as promised, the neck mechanism that I have, that I am building for this particular type of puppet. Y'all have wanted to see it and kind of see where I'm going with this. This is it. Now this here, like the puppet is 90% finished, this right here is still a work in progress, but I wanted to at least show y'all so y'all can kind of get the idea of where I'm going with this. This is still an idea that I've had almost from the very beginning. Go back to episode 1 where I kind of explained the process of how I'm wanting to design and have this puppet work. But all it's pretty much using is that you have, if we can see here, we have a central mechanism. This right here is kind of like the vertebrae, so to say. This is the central neck. It's kind of made out of a piece of sturdy, flexible pipe. Actually, this is a faucet hose that I had laying around the house. Cut off one end, and I went ahead and 3D printed this piece here to put on the front of the lower jaw mechanism. This is going to be the jaw that you'll be able to open and close utilizing cable operation, which I don't have that mechanism designed. And we have just here several wires. I just bought some cheap wire at the home improvement stores and ran these through pieces of wood that I've cut out using my scroll saw, drill some holes through them, and they're all fastened using these electrical connectors here. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'll do a zoom in a little bit to show y'all that. But that's pretty much about it, and you get the movement by just simply pulling on these cables right here. As you apply tension to one cable, it starts to move around. This is a effect that is used within the movie industry to kind of give, anything with, multiple joints along a long path. Necks on long dinosaurs or monsters, tails, tentacles, anything that you could probably think, but you just move this around. Now the only problem with this is that once you put that head mechanism on, it puts a lot of weight onto this, and I haven't tried it yet with the head added on. I might probably do that just to show y'all how it could probably look. Of course the lower jaw is not finished, so it's going to look a little bit goofy, but I'll show y'all here in a minute. We'll give that a shot. But you just move this along. The other thing is that I'm not quite getting accurate movements of what I'm wanting on this mechanism here. But part of that I think is that I need to add some more of these right here. Because originally I just had this piece and this piece on, and the movement was all over the place. It was very hard to control. I've added this piece in here, so now it's a little bit, it's easier to control. I'm getting a little bit more smoother movements. So I think that if I probably put in an extra one between this joint and this joint and this joint and this joint, I think I would get the look that I'm wanting. Now there's 4 cables, because if it's looking up and I want it to kind of look more down, I can pull those 4 cables. This is very difficult to try to control utilizing just one hand here. But yeah, so I think this will kind of really get the effect that I'm wanting. And once I get it completed and I've done all the research and development that I need to probably do, because this, I have a general idea of how this works and how they make these, but this is the first time I've ever made anything like this, so it's all a learning process for me, but I think it works out. So I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and do that for y'all. Kind of a way of saying sorry that I didn't get it completed by this episode, but I'm going to go ahead and put on the finished head on this, drape it in with the cloth material that we have on the neck, and let's move it around and see what happens. So be right back. And okay, I finally got the head on, and it was a good thing that I'm trying this out, because the first thing that I'm noticing is that because of the addition of the teeth right here for the lower gum line, this connection point here is not fitting as well as it should. So I'm going to have to go back in to change that out. But let's go ahead and try this out. I'm, however, though, having some doubts, because I just think this head is just a little bit too heavy for this first iteration of the neck. But let's go ahead and give that a try. So if I pull these 2 cables here, and yeah, just as I feared, it doesn't look like that the head, the head is just a little bit too heavy. Let's open this up and take a look to see if we can see what's going on in here. I pull onto this. Yeah, it just looks like that what it's doing is it's just wanting to kink the, it's just causing this to kind of kink and bend in the places, where, here and even right here in the neck. I might need to run these cables all the way up to the base of the head and see what happens there, and see what that gives a look. But yeah, I'm going to have to continue to toy around with this. I know it's possible. It's just trying to get the right mix of, a sturdy but flexible enough vertebrae, enough of these little areas of these things here in between the areas there to have it to where it's, the whole weight, think of this like a suspension bridge, the whole weight of this head is being held up by these wires, but these wires, though, is distributing the load across these points here. At least that's the way I think that it's going to be working, so I still need to develop that. But yeah, that's why this is all kind of a, just testing around, but, research and development, so to say. So once again, I've never done anything like this before, but I think it is indeed at least on the right track. And as you can see here, once we get this put on, that's kind of what I'm looking for, doing right there. So hopefully once I get that all squared away, this will be able to support its own weight, and I could just move these cables around to get it to move around, and there will be another cable that you can pull to get the mouth to open and close. So with that, said it's definitely getting closer to a finished project and what I intended. So cool. And with all of this being said, that's going to conclude this episode, and in fact, that's going to conclude this series. Now, please don't get that wrong. That doesn't mean that this is the last time that you're going to see this Skeksis puppet. There will be another video of when I've got this completely done, and in that video, not only will you see him completed in all of his glory, but you'll also be able to see the character that I have developed for this particular Skeksis that I have created from this point on. Now, the reason about why I'm ending this series now is because I felt like I've divulged quite a bit of time into this. I'm ready to move on to some other project. Plus, also Halloween is just right around the corner, and I have a bunch of other projects, Halloween themed projects that I want to try to work on, and I can't do that and work on this at the same time. So I want to go ahead and, rather than continue out the series and have y'all just look at little updates here and there, I want to go ahead and have it to where the next episode or the next video or the next time you see this puppet, it's completed. So that way y'all can see finally, especially those of y'all been watching this series from the very beginning, can see the finished product without having to see the steps I take how to do it. But if I do anything major, I will definitely show you what I've done in that final episode. So yeah, end of the series, but not the end of this particular character here. Be looking forward to that episode, hopefully by the end of the year. I'm hoping to have it done by then. But with that all being said, I said I'm not giving up on this. In fact, if anything, my interest has been renewed because I've actually started watching the series, The Dark Crystal, The Age of Resistance, and watching those new Skeksis puppets and those new characters there. It's kind of, revigorated my zeal, my excitement to try to get this done. In fact, after watching one of those episodes, it made me think, wow, I need to go ahead and get back to this particular project because I want to see it done. I want to see him completed. So yeah, it's not going to be abandoned by any sense of the imagination. So for those of y'all that are probably right now screaming at your computers, no, I want to see it done. Don't worry, it will get done. It's just not going to be any more episodes to this because I've got other things looking forward to. So other puppets, other CGI things, other special effects, a whole bunch of little things. So we're going to get to that. So with that all being said, I just want to go ahead and conclude this episode. And I want to say that my name is Daniel, aka Bbeltdan. This is a cable-operated Skeksis puppet that I've been making. I want to say thank you for watching and staying with me through all 13 parts of this series. And I will see you next time.